Hey, what's up, internet friends? DJ Felony live on YouTube. We're gonna play GTA 5 here shortly. Then we're gonna smoke some green, and then we're gonna hang out with our cat. And yeah, but before we do all that, I wanted to talk a little bit about it's just been a lot of shit going on in online community known as UFO Twitter lately, and a lot of it has had to do with involving me, and including podcasts and bigger names, a lot bigger than me. I like it's amazing that people actually give a fuck what kind of happens, that things I do actually have an effect. But I was gonna talk about what's been going on recently, just so everyone kind of knows. Yeah, had to know the truth about what's been going on, and because that's just kind of what I do. Uh, I tried to do this specific video probably two or three times, and there's just like so much crap coming at different angles that it was real hard for my mind to wrap it like all into uh like understandable format, because there's like so many different like identities involved, accounts involved, and so many bunch of people have been doxxed this week, and it's just nuts. So like I tried to actually do this video once or twice, and I didn't put it out because it was just a mishmash. And yeah, I'm gonna try to stick to an actual followable, not so manic format. One of the times I tried to make this video, I had been up for like 2 days. I think it was last night, and it was like I didn't even have to go back and watch. I knew. I was like, dude, no one's gonna be able to follow that. So I'm gonna start at the important thing that kind of kicked all this off. Okay, so we went on Disclosure tonight with Fessler and Mike Disclosure. They invited me and a couple of my friends on from the UFO Twitter community, and we're kind of known as the hate group. So it pissed off the community that we were invited on an actual podcast. Um, During that podcast, the co-host Mike Disclosure and Red Panda Koala, kind of the leader of the real hate group on UFO Twitter, if you ask me, we're going back and forth in the live chat, or in the chat on the side. Uh, Guy named Thomas Fessler runs Disclosures Tonight. Mike was the co-host at the time, just I think he was modding and stuff. Well, he Panda baited, if you ask me, he kind of baited Mike Disclosure into acting, and Mike doxed Panda. He on in the chat. He put his like name. I did a video about it. I put it up. Um, and that's what Panda wanted. He was trying to bait him into a reaction. Well, it worked. He baited him into a reaction. And everyone, like you just had to admit what happened was wrong, because if you don't agree with doxing and that type of tactics, it didn't really leave you anywhere to wiggle, right? Like I didn't feel bad for Panda, but I'll admit the way that shit shouldn't be happening. So this alone caused a rift kind of in my friend circle, where there were people that were saying, fuck Red Panda Koala, I don't feel bad for that asshole. Look at all the scams and destruction and friends he's ran off the app with their harassment and their group tactics. And then there was another group was like, yeah, but doxing's wrong, right? Like the target is kind of irrelevant. And we were kind of, like in disagreement about this. So I started a space, and that was my idea for the Twitter space, was that we were going to talk about that, like, and get on the same page. Hopefully, all agree that doxing is wrong, and there wouldn't be any more doxing. Like that was the goal of that space. Um, Once I launched the space, immediately Tupacabra and Red Panda Qual were right there. Like I didn't even have time to think. I had to even if you go, well, you can't listen to it now, and I'll explain why. But I even was like, hey, I gotta go use the bathroom, because usually it takes a while for people to join my spaces. So I had to like leave for like a minute because I didn't expect anyone to be there. And we had a conversation. They had actually gotten hit with another wave of information getting released. They clearly displayed what happened. Once again, you couldn't really argue it. You had to say, yeah, that's fucked up. That's happened to you guys. We talked in this space about it for hour and a half probably. Dude, no one. It was cordial. Some of my friends came in. A couple of them got a little rough with Panda, but it's expected. It's a UFO Twitter space. Uh, and then at the tail end of the space, like right at the end, everything was fine, and we were all actually pretty much in agreement. Like as a community, we got to make sure people ain't getting doxxed every fucking day. Um, right at the tail end of the space, and I think this might be important. Uh, one of them brought up the hard drive and that I make things up about Logan and people. And we kind of got in a little bickering match about that. And I have information to put up here shortly to explain some of that. But I ended the space because I didn't want it. We had had such a good talk and all agreed. I didn't want us to fight over it to boil into a bullshit fest again and ruin all the progress we just made. Me, one of my friends, Tupacabra, and Red and Qual. And so I just ended the space. I was DMing with Panda at the time. And then I scroll in and start checking my comments and DMs and everything, and someone doxed me, put my information out. The only thing they could find was a arrest report from when I was like 13 years old, and it was a weed pipe. Looks like I never learned the lesson, but that's what they put out there was some juvenile ticket or whatever. I don't even remember because I got so many of them back in those days. And that was the worst they could find, but it had, full name, all that shit on it, and it was in the comments. And the person who did it, the account that did it, they had kind of popped into my radar, blowing me shit, blowing my friendship, but it was a newer account to me. I hadn't seen it around much, so my mind's going all over the place. Jiggy, who knows? Um, and Panda and these guys are pushing me towards the idea that it's Mike Disclosure who did it. The co-host from Disclosure Tonight, who doxed Panda and was giving this information allegedly about Panda and Tupa. They were Panda. We were talking in DMs. Like I was about to shut down my Tupa Crew account and be done. Like you know what? It's over. Like it's all over. And then these clowns doxed me, and we were all in agreement. And this is okay. And this is where it got really grimy. This is where it gets grimy. Me and Panda are DMing back and forth, and I'm telling him, "Look, dude, I just got doxxed right after that space where we were all pretty much in agreement, like for the first time. What the fuck is going on?" And they're pushing me towards Mike Disclosure. I sent him a screenshot of me reporting it and what they posted. It was like my first name and then a file, and if you click the file, then it opened up to a report. Um, and Panda's acting still egging me on that it Mike Disclosure. Some of his buddies were trying to tell me it was Mike Disclosure, and that goes for a day. And I make a video. When I do my edit, I'll put it up. I make a video where I basically imply that yeah, it sounds like Mike Disclosure thought I was becoming a traitor to the Tupa crew and doxed me. Like they can were pretty good at convincing me of this. And a day later, I'm talking to a friend, and she tells me, well, that account's been around for a while. She sends me a screenshot, and it's UAP Mike hosting, that account co-hosting, Panda's in some of them, Zim's in them, Carlos is in them. Like they all know who doxed me. It wasn't a secret. And Panda said I disavowed that account for doing it, and then continued to push me towards Mike Disclosure. And he knew they had shared spaces with this account, and I was told that it always co-hosts with UAP Mike, Psych Ward Mike. So I was told it was either Dahlia, his wife, or it was Fungi. But why it doesn't really matter is because they use these anonymous hate socks and they share them. That's why you'll engage one day and it's making racist comments and acting like a baboon, and then the next day you'll engage with it and it's like you're talking to a quiet female. Like they're sharing these attack socks. And the thing that's really important is Red Panda Koala knew who it was. The minute from the second I told him I was doxxed and sent him that screenshot, he didn't tell me, "Oh, I know who that is." He encouraged me to go blame Mike Disclosure, and this is what is important about it. Dude, I'm sorry, Mike. Like, dude, I'm really sorry. I feel awful. I thought about deleting the video that I made. I didn't say it was Mike, but I insinuated that I had a strong belief that it was, and I let him know very clearly that he was one of my theories on who just doxed me for no reason. And yeah, Red Panda Koala knew the whole time who it was. And he was encouraging me to go after Mike. And like I said, dude, I'm really sorry. But I'm not gonna take the video down because I think it's important. It's a learning lesson, and it's something I can learn from to not get encouraged to you know, these guys are so nefarious, man. You'll have like a one-on-one DM back and forth with them, and they're completely lying straight to your face. They're encouraging you to do things they know. I call it crash test dumbing someone, like sending them off to go talk shit to somebody when they know. That's what their crew is about, and that's the main thing I wanted to talk about. So now the community's arguing and bickering, and I did a poll because I didn't think anyone would give a fuck that I got doxxed. Like honestly, dude, I'm whatever. And I did a poll on if the Tupa crew, Panda, and Tupa should publicly denounce and cut ties with Mike Disclosure or UAP Mike. There's two Mikes. It's very important to keep that. Psych Ward Mike is UAP Mike. That's Tupa Crew's hate minion. And then there's Disclosure Mike who co-hosts Disclosure Tonight. Um, Leading to today, yesterday actually. So Fessler had Disclosure Tonight, and I wanted to just let them know real clearly, like I was sorry that, like, dude, I got fucking, kind of spun out on everything that was happening, and there were people feeding me bullshit, and yeah, I fell for it, and I apologized, and so I stuck around and watched the show over on Disclosure Tonight. I didn't know what was going on. Fessler at the intro announced that because of Disclosure Mike doxing Panda in the chat, that he was suspended from the show for the time being. So until they could figure out what was going on, which was the absolute right move. Fessler, like he's built that show. It's his project. He's got to take control of it and the situation and everything was fine. And then I'm watching the show and it starts getting fucking attacked. There's trolls trying to like breach into the voice chat where they let people come in and talk. That's what makes it such a great show. And they're like playing clips of my video for 3 seconds, and then he's catching them right away. But one of the tactics they were using is they were actually making accounts that looked like us, like Darren, and so he would approve them and let him in, like, oh, Darren wants to say something. And it would be one of these assholes on a just made hate sock, and they were trying to play. It was like I recognized because it was me. They were like little clips from my videos, probably me saying that I thought Mike maybe did it or doxed me or whatever. Just because that's what they do is they try to see dissent and drive wedges. And I was DMing with Panda at the same time, and I'm like, dude, why the fuck are you guys still attacking Disclosure Tonight? He acted like, "Oh, I don't know, bro." But the way there's zero chance of that he didn't know that Disclosure Tonight was getting attacked, and I'm gonna explain it. We were talking about it in DMs, and this dude, I haven't talked to this guy in a long time. We just started DMing like a couple days ago during all this doxing shit because I agreed with that what happened to him was bogus. So we had something to talk about. Uh, but we were talking about it, and I implied to him the like, yeah, I'll go on disclosure tonight. If they would have invited me, I would have went on and talked to him. And that was when he was trying to snow me on the idea that it was Mike Disclosure. And he wanted me to probably go on there and confront Mike. That's what he was. That was the master plan. So he told his organized hate group, TJ's going to be on disclosure tonight. And so when they breached through the chat, that's the stuff they were playing, was like my clips, and that was the plan. Is if I went on there and was whatever happened, they were gonna start breaking through with these clips. But I didn't go on. Like, it wasn't about me. He had intelligent people on, like Gene and stuff. It was a great show, but it got harassed the entire episode. They were trying to breach. Real weird tactics, like creating socks to try to get in and on the air. Um, that's an organized hate group. Like, when has my little crew ever done something like that? Someone show me. And it went the entire fucking show. The entire show. Like, it was start to finish. Even after the guy, like, said, like, yeah, we're gonna suspend Mike. We don't support doxing. He said everything that everyone wanted him to say, and the Tupa crew hate group continued to do attack the show. Um, these guys that are doing a lot of this attacking, they're the morons of the crew. It's like Fungi, Shane, UAP Psych Ward Mike, who just got out of a mental hospital and was court ordered to stay out of internet drama. Like, don't be harassing people online. That's one of your court orders. He's right back to attacking podcasts and they can try to like lie and say they're fighting an eye or for disclosure, whatever. It's jealousy and spite. That's all it is. It's there's people getting on that show that they don't like, and it's just real petty, silly bullshit when you really break it down and get down to the heart of it. Um, all right, and that's where we're at today. And yeah, the main part of that is I just wanted to apologize to the disclosure tonight, guys. I won't fall for that shit again. I've said that, but man, I that guy will fucking sneak attack you and try to psyop you right to your face. Like, I tend to think if someone's willing to like open up and just like talk to me, they're being genuine somewhat. Even someone, especially someone I've known for years now, but it's always a work. It's always a plot. Like, it's never just, like me, there's no plan. I'm just reacting and making videos about what's happening. It's always a freaking plot. Uh, oh, what's up, bro? And then after that, so we had the space, the me and Tupa and Panda and everything, and I wanted to talk about a few things they said in that space. So I don't know why whoever doxed me, like, because if you want peace, Mike co-hosts this person constantly, and his spaces are always these peace talks, bring your beef, let's solve problems and be friends on UFO Twitter. It was happening in that space, so like they sabotaged it for one, the actual real conversation, and that made no fucking sense. It's because they don't want peace. They're making a name off the drama. Like, I am tired of this shit. No one likes to get doxxed. Like, it's not fun for anyone. Well, one of the things that came up at the end of that space was this Logan, this hard drive that everyone's afraid to talk about. And I've noticed over the last couple of years, anytime this damn hard drive is brought up, things happen in my real life. Whether I got swatted, and it the dial turns up anytime this thing is fucking mentioned. And I'm not gonna go into depth about it. It's been, whatever. People don't want to hear about it. I'm just gonna show a couple things here on my show. And Tupa, I had to delete the entire space because the doxing incidences were happening around it, and I just went through and deleted everything. Um, the At tail end of it, Tupa Cabra once again accused me that I'm making things up about Logan when I mentioned that you guys were holding like ransoms. You were offering large amounts of money for the return of this mysterious shady ass hard drive. Tupa accused me in that space of just making it up again. You're making things up. You're always making things up. And so dude, it took me 2 minutes to find it. Um, I'm just gonna pop over. Yeah, it's not that one. This one right here. Okay, it took me 2 minutes to find it. On you can Google these old fucking posts. And here's Logan right here. And this went on for months. These guys, this is what I'm talking about when I say nefarious and disingenuous. They will sit in a space with hundreds of members of the community and accuse me of making things up. They all participated in this. So Tupa and Panda, they knew that this all happened. They're lying to your faces and trying to. What they're betting on is that I'm not going to put in the effort to go find proof. And usually it works. Sometimes it doesn't. But that is the tactic they roll with today because a lot of this stuff happened a long time ago. And here's Logan, urgent $10,000 reward in hard cash. It's so ridiculous, bro. Give me a second. In hard cash awaits the skilled sleuth able to retrieve the hard drives, plural. I always thought there was just one, intact and unscathed. So there's proof right there that what I said was true. They were offering large amounts of money for this hard drive, and they were all participating. Ocean was going around and doing investigative work. And look what it says down here. I don't know this Ty Love account was the last known person with them. A close friend of theirs, Gustagoo, says they sold it to a group of people who wanted dirt on me. So, what would have been on a hard drive that would be considered dirt on somebody? Like, what could it possibly be? What was it? His fantasy football roster for like the upcoming year? Did he not want people to know his like taco recipe? Like, what was it that was on there that would be considered dirt on him? And another detail in this shit is he mentions this Gustagoo person and says that she is a close friend of theirs. So she knows what's going on in this case when Logan mentions her here. That's the person I was communicating with that was giving me hints on what was on the hard drive. It's the same person. They were telling me what was on there. So when I mentioned that, well, this is why I think these things, I'm not making anything up. There's actual reasons for it. Like, I've never made anything up about these people. These were incidences that got thrown under the rug and cleaned up by the community. And I ask questions in real time. And this is kind of funny, dude. I'm gonna go ahead and explain this shit. This guy, I feel a little bad for putting him in the hot seat. I'm gonna be this shit happened a while back, so uh Logan got arrested for beating up the girl. That's what started all the things about the hard drive. I don't have to say allegedly, he was charged. Um, and she threw him out and held on to these hard drives, plural, allegedly, which is kind of news to me. And the reason was to keep him the fuck away. Like, just stay away and they'll stay with me. Um, when he got out of jail, he was immediately back on UFO Twitter Spaces, and he didn't have money to get home. He was like stranded out there, and the community scrambled together to get poor Logan home, who just got charged with beating up a woman, a member of the community. And they got him home, and then he resettled, immediately started having UFO Twitter Spaces again. And he did when this thing went up, the ransom. Here's Chris Meyer. Where are you getting $10,000 from? What the hell? Because he's got a brain and he just watched this guy raise money to get home. And that's why I said in that space, were you guys gonna chip in on the $10,000? Where was that money gonna come from? Like if I would have showed up with the hard drives, who would have given me $10,000? Was it going to come from the community? So if the community crowd pools money to get this hard drives plural back, and there's illegal things on that hard drive, illegal material, dirt that might be used on somebody, does that implement the entire community in covering up illegal material? Are these questions I should have the right to ask if it's a community I care about? And so then I'm gonna go over to another one. I have one more thing I want to show you guys. Um, Before I play this one, I just want to be very clear. Uh, this shit is like gross as fuck. If you're kind of like sensitive towards like talks about s assault, incest, things like that, I'm just giving you a warning. This is gross. And this is why I say that I think there is a community right under the surface that kind of protects and watches out for each other. This was a space that took place a while back, and I'll give the history after I play it. But I'm gonna go ahead and put it up here. It should pop up when I start playing it. Yeah.
incest. Like his stories, he explains in the beginning that he does not endorse incest. But these are stories where him and
So this was a typical Twitter space that anyone could stumble into. Look, it even has a good UFO Twitter title there for everybody. It's got Logan hosting it. You have Mistress Morpho in here, and it's this guy named Larry. This guy named Larry right here, Larry Gurnt. The reason most people haven't heard of this guy is because he passed away. Shortly after this incident, he passed away. Came off as a really nice guy. Everyone loved him. Like, look at his big account. He was super friendly. He was just into some creepy, disgusting shit. And I'll go ahead and play this clip for you, and then we'll talk about it a little bit.
incest. Like his stories, he explains in the beginning that he does not endorse
Here, I'm gonna double check to make sure this is going out. Give me 1 second, y'all. Monitor and output. Yep. I learned, man. I learned from the KMF interview. Okay, here we go.
incest. Like his stories, he explains in the beginning that he does not endorse incest. But these are stories where him and he writes a story about. I guess he's the main role, and he's got like two daughters and a wife, and they're all having sex, and the daughters are underage. They're not like little babies, but they're like 13, 15, 17, that like that, and incest on top of that, right? So, but the way he describes it, it all sounds lovely. It just so it makes for really hot sex. I don't know.
Well, there you have it. And one thing you might notice is nobody cut this guy off. You got Morpho, you got Logan. Look, everyone's on speaker up there. How much of that do you think that guy would have got out in MySpace? Probably 2 seconds of it, and we all would have been jumping up on the mic and blocking him and being like, who the fuck is this guy? The problem is, he said this shit openly in this fucking space here with Logan. Logan didn't even tell anyone about it. He didn't mention anything about it until days later when someone else brought attention to it. Then all of a sudden, everyone had a problem with Larry. And people canceled Larry. The whole community cut the guy off. Obviously, right? You don't want this guy around. There were a few people who didn't cut Larry off. Logan was one of them. Mistress Morpho was one of them. And they stepped close to this guy. Larry continued to hang out in Logan's spaces. And I have proof of that. I have proof of that over here. Let's see. So, what happened is such a ruckus was coming up about Logan continuing to hang out with this guy after obviously he's a PDF, right? And they had a like damage control space over there. I've mentioned this in spaces, but been called a liar. The Tupa crew brought Logan in, and they tried to explain to him why it is wrong to platform people like this. He didn't listen. Shortly after, he was still hanging out with him in spaces, and this is proof of it. He says right here, somehow my space crashed. I blame Larry. Don't worry though, guys, it's back up. UFOX, UFO Twitter. People were mass reporting when they saw Larry was in these spaces. Nobody wanted him around. So Logan knew what was going on. So when I say I think there is a ring of goofies. I use the word goofies. They usually fill in all those other words. Guys that are cool with CP enthusiasts, PDFs, and they kind of exist right under the surface on UFO Twitter. And they tend to make everyone around them culpable in crimes like this hard drive and stuff. I have reason to say it. I'm not making anything up about anybody. Like it's 3 years of events like this. And this wasn't the only one. There was another guy that hit the community, and his story was that the extraterrestrials were causing him to be attracted to little kids. And he was being defended, now let's hear him out, by all these people. Science Bob, Logan. This guy was trying to blame being attracted to little kids and turn it into a ufology scapegoat. And everyone was like, well, let's hear him out. I have reasons for saying the things I do. Like, it's just that's the main point of all this. Like, and these people like in these spaces when they put me on the spot, like calling me a liar, accusing me of just pulling things out of thin air, that's what sends me into these rabbit holes, right? I'm not floating around on UFO Twitter trying to bury people. It's they force my hand to prove it. And then I actually do sometimes. Sometimes you can't. A lot of times you can't. These things happen. Logan had spaces going for days on end. The things that happen, you can't. You're not gonna go find those, but some you can. But yeah, that's about all I got to say really about it. There's just a lot of bullshit going on right now. But yeah, that's what I got to say. The doxing and stuff, we all agree it's bullshit. Like, I don't want to see anyone else get doxed, even people that doxed me. Um, there was more information that came out after I got doxed, it going the other way. Don't do that. Don't dox these guys. Don't put out information about them. It's just counterproductive. And yeah, that's all I got to say. I'm gonna jump over and play GTA, and my freaking live lobby is gonna disappear. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you want to support financially and help my content creation career, buy me acoffee.com/DJ Felony. You can support anonymously. Just leave your name blank, and but you gotta put your email address in. And I will see y'all next time. I'm gonna edit this. I'm gonna add some stuff to it. I got more stuff I can put up around the video as evidence too. I just didn't have time to put it all up on OBS, and it's kind of clunky to do. So thanks for watching, everybody, and I will see you next time. Stay with me to watch GTA and hang out, chat. Peace out.